Okay, so come closer. No, really come closer. Because what is moving through the energy around you right now is not something that speaks at full volume. It doesn't announce itself from a distance. It moves the way certain truths move, quietly, underneath everything, threading itself through the ordinary moments of your days without you ever quite catching it in the act. But it has been there. It has been there for longer than you know. And today, something in the atmosphere has shifted just enough that it can finally be named. So, I need you to do one thing before we go any further. Set down whatever you were carrying when you arrived here. The noise of the day, the weight of whatever has been sitting on your chest, the background hum of everything that usually fills the space in your mind. Set it down because what the energy around your situation is holding right now deserves your full attention. And more than that, it deserves your willingness to actually hear it, not the version of it your fear would translate, not the version your past experiences would filter it through. The actual thing as it is underneath all of that. Are you ready? Because this person, the one who exists in the field of your life right now, the one whose energy is so unmistakably present in this reading, they have something they have been carrying, something they do not know how to say. And since they haven't found the words yet, since the feeling in them keeps outrunning the language available to it, the energy is going to say it instead. Listen carefully. The first thing that becomes visible when we enter the energetic atmosphere surrounding your situation is the quality of restraint, not coldness, not indifference, not distance born from disinterest. The restraint of someone who is holding something enormous and has not yet figured out how to put it down in front of you without it changing everything. There is a profound difference between someone who has nothing to say and someone who has too much. And what surrounds this person right now is unmistakably the latter. Think of what it feels like to stand at the edge of something vast, a cliff above an ocean, the moment before speaking in front of a crowd, the heartbeat before you say something that cannot be unsaid. There is a particular quality of stillness that precedes those moments, not peace, but suspension, the held breath of a person who knows they are about to step off the edge of the ordinary into something irreversible. That is the energetic signature of what this person is living in right now in relation to you. Every time they are near you, every time your name crosses their mind, every time they reach for their phone and then set it back down, that suspended, breathless, terrifying stillness is what they are navigating. And here is what they don't know how to tell you. The suspension is not going to last much longer. Something inside them is reaching a point of saturation, a place where what has been held can no longer be contained by the ordinary boundaries of silence and restraint. The feeling has grown larger than the space they've been keeping it in. And feelings, when they outgrow their containers, find a way out one way or another, in one form or another, at a moment that may surprise even the person they're living inside of. But before we get to what is moving toward the surface, we need to go beneath it. We need to understand what has been living in the deeper, quieter layers of this person's interior world, because that is where the real story is unfolding. And it is a story that has been unfolding for far longer than any surface level observation would suggest. There is an undercurrent in this person's subconscious that speaks of accumulation, not the dramatic, all at once arrival of a feeling, but the slow, steady, almost imperceptible gathering of one The way snow accumulates each flake so light as to be almost weightless, but over time, over many quiet hours, building into something that holds a landscape, that changes the way everything looks, that cannot be ignored. That is how this person's feeling for you has been building quietly, consistently, without announcement or ceremony. One small moment of noticing, layered upon another, until the weight of all that noticing became something undeniable. What lives in the subconscious of this person, when it comes to you, is a catalog, not a conscious one they haven't been deliberately recording. But the deeper intelligence of the psyche keeps its own records, and what it has been keeping is a detailed, intimate account of you, the particular way you laugh, the way you hold yourself when you're thinking, the specific quality of your presence in a room, which is different from anyone else's presence, which is yours alone, and which this person has become without entirely realizing it, attuned to in a way that has no easy name. There is also something in the subconscious layer that speaks of fear. Not fear of you. Nothing about the energy here suggests that. Fear of the size of what they feel, fear of what it means, fear of what happens if they say it and the world shifts in a direction they cannot control. This person has perhaps encountered love before in forms that were ultimately temporary, and something in them has learned to be cautious not as a strategy, but as a reflex. A way the nervous system protects itself from what it has previously survived, and yet this time the caution is losing ground. The feeling is simply too persistent, too consistent, too stubbornly present to be managed by the ordinary tools of self protection. What the subconscious is beginning to recognize, what is slowly rising from the depths of this person's interior into something closer to conscious awareness, is that what they feel for you is not a risk in the way their fear is framing it. It is, in fact, the opposite of a risk. It is the thing, the one that doesn't go away when tested, the one that doesn't fade when ignored, the one that keeps returning quietly and completely intact, no matter how many times they've tried to rationalize it into something smaller and more manageable. Now let's move into the emotional and psychological heart of this, because this is where things become genuinely extraordinary. There are layers to what this person is experiencing that exist simultaneously and that pull in different directions, and understanding those layers is essential to understanding why they don't know how to tell you what they feel. On the surface, there is the person they present to the world, composed, perhaps even casual, navigating the ordinary dynamics of your connection with what looks, from the outside, like a measure of ease. But underneath that surface, running parallel to every ordinary interaction, is an entirely different interior reality. In that interior reality, every moment with you carries additional weight. Every conversation has a subtext they are aware of and you may not be. Every ordinary exchange contains for them a heightened significance because they are always, always aware of what they are not yet saying. They are fluent in a version of your connection that you have not yet been invited to fully read. And carrying that private fluency day after day, moment after moment, is exhausting in a way that is also paradoxically intoxicating. Because the secret of what they feel is also, in some strange way, a form of intimacy. It exists entirely in them, and it is entirely about you, and that private space where the two things meet has become sacred to them. But the psychological pressure of that sacred private space is building. And here is what the deeper energetic patterns are beginning to reveal. The part of this person that wants to protect themselves from vulnerability is beginning to lose the argument it has been making. Because the other part, the part that knows what it feels, that has no doubt about the substance of it, that wakes up in the morning already thinking of you and goes to sleep at night still carrying you. That part is growing louder, more insistent, more unwilling to be quieted by reasonable arguments about timing and risk and the possibility of things going wrong. Something in this person has begun to understand that not saying it also has a cost. That continued silence, however comfortable and safe it may feel, is also a choice and not necessarily a painless one. That there is a version of the future where they waited too long, said nothing, and lived with the particular weight of wondering. And that weight, the energy suggests, is beginning to feel heavier than the weight of vulnerability. This is the turning point that is circulating in the dynamics around you right now. Not a single dramatic moment, but a gradual internal tipping point, the slow shift of a scale that has been balancing for some time and is now beginning to incline unmistakably in one direction. What is evolving in the unseen space between you and this person is something that has the quality of an approaching threshold. There is movement here, not frantic, not urgent in a way that suggests desperation, but steady, purposeful. The movement of someone who is quietly, in the private hours of their own life, preparing themselves, working up not just the courage, but the clarity, finding word by slow word, the form that what they feel might take when it finally meets the open air. You may begin to notice things, small things perhaps, a shift in the way they are present with you, a quality of attention that feels different, more deliberate, more careful, more aware. Moments that seem to pause slightly before moving on, as though something in them is considering, as though the edge they have been standing at is becoming gradually a place they are almost ready to step off from. And now I want to speak directly to you, to the part of you that came here carrying your own interior landscape, your own questions, your own unnamed awareness of something unresolved in this connection. You have been sensing something, perhaps not knowing what to do with it, perhaps talking yourself out of it, or talking yourself into it, or oscillating between the two in the way we do when we are waiting for something to become clear enough to trust. And I want to say to you, gently and directly, the sense you have been carrying is not nothing. It is not imagination. It is not wishful thinking dressed up as intuition. The energy around this connection is genuinely unusual in its consistency and its depth. And the part of you that has been paying attention to that has been paying attention to something real. But here's the thing that the energy wants most urgently for you to understand, the thing it has been trying to reach you with underneath all the other layers of this reading. Whatever this person is holding, whatever they are building towards saying, whatever is moving in the unseen space between you, none of it changes the fundamental truth that you are the author of your own experience. Their feeling, as significant as it is, as genuine as the energy reflects it to be, does not obligate you. It does not define the territory of what you are allowed to want or not want. It does not determine your future. What determines your future is the relationship you have with your own knowing, your own honest sense of what resonates and what doesn't. Your own clarity about what kind of love, what kind of presence, what kind of partnership actually nourishes the deepest version of who you are. And that clarity that is yours to develop, yours to trust, yours to act from, regardless of what anyone else is feeling or not feeling or holding or releasing. So listen carefully, not just to what this reading is telling you about someone else's interior world. Listen carefully to yourself, to the quiet intelligence of your own instincts, to the place in you that has been waiting, perhaps, for permission to know what it already knows. That place in you is wise. It has been paying attention to everything. It has been keeping its own records, noticing its own details, arriving at its own quiet conclusions. And whatever it is telling you, whatever truth it has been building toward in the same slow, patient way that everything real is built, that truth is the most important thing in this entire reading. Not what someone else doesn't know how to tell you. What you already know, that is where the real listening begins.